The member for Hunter.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Deputy Prime Minister. Is it seriously the government's position that it would rather inflict a 32.5% tax on rural and regional Australia rather than accept Labor's sensible 13% compromise offer?
The Deputy Prime Minister. Deputy Prime Minister has the call.
Mr Speaker, I've got it. Yeah, Mr Speaker, I thank the honourable member for his question, and just to know the honourable nature of the honourable opposition, I want to quote exactly what the National Farmers Federation said, and then place it clearly before the Leader of the Opposition and see if he wishes to correct the record after misleading the House. The National Farmers Federation says, and I quote, "To be clear, we continue to support 15% as the best policy outcome. But outcomes today cannot be 32.5. We need to get this done." So, Mr Speaker, I ask that in reflection of the statement and the question by the Leader of the Opposition in the first instance, which was brought to his attention by part of my answer, is he going to correct the record, or is it just yet another indication of the person we have? The same person who knifed Prime Minister Gillard, the same person who knifed Prime Minister Rudd, the same person who let down the workers at Chiquita Mushrooms, the same person who let down the workers at Clean Event, is the same person who now is going to have Australian workers discriminated against in favour of overseas workers. That is the policy of the Australian Labor Party that once upon a time used to represent labourers, but there's not many labourers in the Labor Party these days. What we have is this swami, lubricious approach, this process of playing a game with regional Australia, the same sort of approach they used when they brought about the closure of the live cattle trade. And even when we've negotiated from 32.5% down to 15%. We have moved 17.5% because we believe it is right. And now what we have, and we have showed how we're going to pay it as we go along, but what we have from the Labor Party is they start at a rate of 10.5%. Why? Not because they believe in it, not because that's the rate they took to the last election. They didn't. They took 32.5% to the last election. What they wish to do is to create discontent, to destroy, to wreck, to bring the show down. That is what it's about here. And they are led by a person who is not worthy to be the Prime Minister of Australia. And it is a character assessment, even in the questions that he asked, that they're not the truth. They are not the truth. And so what are we going to do? We're going to sit here and we have the opportunity for him to show some dignity, some political ethic. And if we're prepared to move from 32.5 to 15, is it not too much for you to do the right thing by this afternoon and get this thing resolved?
The Manager of Opposition Business.
I'd ask the Deputy Prime Minister to table the transcript he claimed to be reading from, and if he's not willing to, I'm happy to seek leave to table the transcript that the Leader of the Opposition earlier quoted from.
The member for Hunter will cease interjecting. I thank the Minister, and the Manager of Opposition Business can resume his seat. The member for Forrest.